Thank you for tuning in to watch our Invest Greater San Antonio Leadership Summit. You're about to watch panel number 1, Building for Tomorrow, how San Antonio leaders are future-proofing infrastructure while protecting its historical roots. Don't forget to like and subscribe to watch more leadership insights from CAA. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Abby. Appreciate it. Thank you to the entire Invest and CAA team for putting together this event and hosting at the Tobin this year. As Abby said, I am Rob Killen, an attorney with the law firm of Killen, Griffin, and Fairmont. And in my volunteer roles, I serve as chair of the Metro SA Chamber and vice chair of the San Antonio Mobility Coalition. And I am honored to be the moderator for this panel, an amazing panel of real superstars in this town. And we talk about San Antonio, we talk about the region. This is a great time to be in San Antonio. I appreciate the mayor's comments about all of the opportunities that we have to grow. But I think San Antonio is doing wonderful now. We're going to talk about infrastructure and we're going to talk about growth in this panel. And we're going to talk about the kind of investments that are sustainable, that are balanced, and that protect our unique character, because that's what sets San Antonio apart. It is its unique character. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But we can't talk about infrastructure investment without talking about what happened last night, the passage of Props A and Prop B. Voters in Bexar County made a decision to invest in the future of San Antonio, to expand the rodeo facilities. I see my good friend, County Commissioner Tommy Calvert. Tommy's out here. We're getting rodeo facilities expanded out there and a new downtown Spurs arena. So we made a great investment here in San Antonio. We care about the future. We care about investing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down a minute. I'm going to let our panelists introduce themselves and then say a quick word, what you think, quick thoughts on Props A and Props B. And we're going to do really kind of quick, short answers because I know there's a full agenda ahead of us. So we're going to start with Jordan Vexler from Monterey. And Jordan, by the way, if you don't know Monterey, and full disclosure, Monterey is one of our firm's clients, started 100 years ago when her great-grandfather, Abe Vexler, came to San Antonio. So Jordan, quick self-introduction. I want to hear what you think about Props A and B.
Well, thank you. And good morning, all. I'm Jordan Vexler, CEO of Monterey Metal Recycling Solutions. My great-grandfather, as Rob said, founded our company in downtown San Antonio over 100 years ago. And today I have the privilege of leading our fourth generation family business together with my father and brothers. We now operate on more than 30 acres in the industrial corridor adjacent to Port of San Antonio. And we work with commodity traders and logistics around the world. That combination of deep local roots and global perspectives gives me a unique appreciation for where San Antonio has been and where we're going. I can say to Prop B, as a recycler, my family's business is about the beginning of new things and how old things can become new in a sustainable way. The way I see it, San Antonio has absolutely chosen that route.
Thank you, Jordan. Rudy has the hardest job in San Antonio because we've got to keep the lights on. And Rudy has been an amazing leader the last few years and has a great team. I saw my friend Jonathan Tiarina serves as a Metro Chamber board with me. And your board chair, Francine Romero, is here. So, Rudy, you're doing an amazing job. Again, nothing happens. Absolutely not. None of us can do anything without electricity. And so, quick self-intro and tell us what you think was going on.
Well, I'll start by saying we do both electricity and natural gas.
And natural gas. Thank you.
We're proud to serve both. Let me start off by saying, I'm very proud and always humble to have been asked to be the leader of what's, one of the most important community assets in San Antonio and Bexar County. I lead 3,600 wonderful public servants of this community. Team, raise your hand. I appreciate all the work that my team does every day. And of course, my board chair is here today. So boss, thank you for your support always. We've got a big job in San Antonio, and nobody sees the growth that's happening and that's coming as far in advance as we do, and we take that responsibility really seriously. That's our number one focus, is to be the best we can be for you all, and do it as affordably as we possibly can, given all the dynamics that the mayor mentioned earlier. As for Props A and B, I am a believer in the outcome of the electorate. I voted for Props A and B, as did all of my family. I think it's important for the community to continue to evolve, and I think Props A and B allow us to do that. We've got a big job ahead of us now, because guess what? All that new infrastructure is going to need what? Electricity. So we've got a lot of planning work to do to make sure that we do our part to make that happen, as we are trying to do for the great work that Jesus is doing at the airport. So thank you, and I appreciate y'all having me here today.
Thank you, Rudy. Jesus came to San Antonio a few years ago with a vision, and he led us on a tour, Metro SA group on a tour on Friday afternoon, did a hard hat tour of some of the new facilities, actually seeing that vision come to reality. So Jesus, quick self-intro.
Yeah, good morning. Jesus Saenz, Director of Airports here for the city of San Antonio. I'll start first. Thank you so much to the entire team at not only San Antonio International, but Stinson as well. I've been here pretty close to 6 years. We have been, I started my career with United Parcel Service, and it is make it happen, make it fun, skip your lunch and run, run, run. So we have been running. My team probably says, yes, we have. Can you calm down a little bit? But I'm a firm believer when the embers are hot, you cook. And right now is the time for us to cook in San Antonio. So a big thanks to the entire airport team for what they've done. We're on a very large expansion, $1.6 billion that we're spending to move forward with what we're doing with a brand new Terminal C, 18 gates, 850,000 square feet, and 40,000 square feet of brand new concession space. Just wrapping up the 19 replacements of food, beverage, and retail. So you'll see that by second quarter of 2026, an opening of a brand new ground load facility, about 40,000 square feet as well, for 3 ground positions to move aircraft, not only with ultra low cost carriers, but more importantly for carriers that want to come from Mexico that are very interested in wanting to serve our city. So we've been after it. We're wrapping up the design pieces that we have ongoing, and we're moving again in this year, more than 11 million passengers, which is the most passengers the city's ever moved, and we're moving to turn into a large hub. So as you heard the mayor talk about the growth and expansion, that's what we focus: increasing service, ensuring that we do everything with safety. I'll leave on 2 notes. One, most importantly, there was a horrible, crash in Louisville. Keep all of those people as an ex-UPSer in your hearts and in your prayers. Do all that you can to help all of our federal employees. We've done a lot. Rudy and his team have been really, really gracious and helpful. Saul's has been helpful. The San Antonio Food Bank. Let's hope we get this resolved. But I will tell you, the people that stand front and center every day at that airport have not buckled one bit. Our wait times have not changed. You don't need to worry when you come to our airport. We're taking care of business and all as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Jesus. But you can't drive anywhere in San Antonio without seeing the Joris name, construction sites, and everywhere else. A multi-generational company. But I think the other piece of your company, what you do, is giving back to the community, involvement in chambers and groups. I see my friend Chris Corso out here, charitable contributions, all the things that you do to give back and be part of the community and work on some really amazing projects.
Yeah, thanks for that. When Jesus, we were visiting about his, what he had going on. He made some time to come visit us in our office, and I thought I had a busy schedule until I saw what Jesus had to manage, and man, this guy's busy. So thank you for all you're doing for San Antonio. Yeah, so Joris, we're coming up on 60 years of serving San Antonio, and so we're really blessed by that we get to be a part of not only what has been, but what's to come. And I get to lead a company now of over 700 employees, so we're not just serving in San Antonio, but we're serving around the state. And it's really an exciting time, right? Because I remember I started my career in 1992 doing a project at Kelly Air Force Base, remodeling a building, and we were out in the middle of nowhere, and to see where it has come in that time frame, just from a construction perspective, is amazing. So just thankful to be a part of that and happy to be on this panel, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about.
Thank you. So we're going to start our questions. We've got the clock ticking down here, so everyone be mindful of the time. So quick answers. The first question is really related to balanced growth. This is for all of you. We're going to start with Jordan. We'll just kind of go down the line. How can San Antonio expand infrastructure in a way that supports inclusive growth, ensuring that transportation, energy, and housing systems work for all residents not just new development?
Let me get to that answer. Excuse me. I was not expecting to be the first here.
You're the first.
What's that?
You're the first.
I am the first. I am the first. Thank you. Well, let's see. So as a legacy business, we were forced to relocate in the 1970s from the near west of downtown to what was then considered the outskirts of San Antonio near Kelly Field. Today, our site is surrounded, as I said, by Port of San Antonio, Union Pacific, and a lot of other industrial businesses. We've seen how quickly a city can evolve and how important it is to keep the well-being of longstanding businesses and communities in mind during that process. In our case, while we're proud to work with many of San Antonio's largest manufacturers, contractors, and organizations, another part of who we are is serving in our community. Other people that we serve are just our community members and our of course our employees. We all live here and we need to support one another. That's why as I've said before, modernization can't only mean building new. It has to mean reinvesting in older parts of the city, supporting family-owned and small businesses, and making sure that growth benefits everyone. When it comes down to it, people are what makes our culture and historic character of San Antonio. When we keep them at the center of progress, modernization strengthens our city rather than overshadowing what makes it unique.
Thank you, Jordan. Rudy?
Yeah, I would say that when growth shows up at our doorstep, we've got an obligation to serve. So CPS Energy, we can't kind of pick and choose customers. We take them as they come because that's our job. But I do think that I think revenue diversity is good for all of our community. It's good for the city, for the county, new tax revenue. When they show up at our doorstep and they bring you revenue to the table, that's not just revenue to help us pay our bills. It's revenue back to the city. And so all of that is good. We try to do that within the context of not necessarily those of us who don't have trouble paying their bills. We think about those least able to pay their bills, and are we building equity and a view of utility burden into our overall viewpoint. So I would just say the way you stay balanced is you do your job to serve the growth, but you make sure that your rates are structured in a way that growth should help those least able to pay their bills. And I think we do a good job of paying attention to that.
You do. Jesus?
Yeah, I'll give it to you from the perspective of an airport and what we do as an enterprise fund. So we have to look at everything we do. We really must run the airport like a business. And I give a lot of credit to the leadership of the city, whether that's mayor and council and president or before when I first arrived. And I feel like Eric Walsh is an under-the-radar airport director. He loves, if you guys don't know this, ask Eric can almost tell you every type of plane that's out there. So I think through their leadership of what they've established for us and allowed us to go move forward with, it is the foundation of what we do as leaders to grow. The airport is an economic engine to the city. So as we do, development for our people, as we do capital development and infrastructure in what we're doing, or as we do development for the financials of the things that we have in front of us, all of that is focusing growth. And what gets measured, I talk a lot about UPS because, I knew when I got in a package car, I knew I had an 8-hour and 37-minute day. And if I wasn't back in 8 hours and 37 minutes, somebody was going to be having a conversation with me. So measurement metrics are very important to what we do. In the last 2 years, we've increased our number of employments by 1.7 million passengers. We've taken the number of nonstop flights from what it was in 2023 of 33 flights nonstop to today 49. And the question Eric always asks me is, Jesus, what's going to be 50? Ask everybody what is going to be number 50 for nonstop. So I challenge you guys to think about that. But as we look at our development of our terminals and what we're doing, all of that comes back and impacts the city in a very important way. And I think the foundation of how we do our things is important to the future of what we do.
I will say this, Eric Walsh is your biggest cheerleader. No matter what you ask to talk to him about, he somehow always manages to work the airport into every conversation, but you're doing an amazing job. Tobin?
Yeah, when we talk about inclusion, as builders, we don't really get to choose where we build projects. We don't get to choose where the schools and the hospitals and the public facilities go. But what we do get to have a hand in is how they're built, and more importantly, who we build them with. And so we're always focusing on making sure that we're building powerful partnerships with our local community, our local trade partners, and making sure that those economic dollars that are coming into the city, we get to be a conduit for those resources as they go back out into the communities, that we're continuing to hire local, because that's really what is going to be this generational push as we continue to grow, is making sure that our local partnerships are growing and thriving from those investments. So that's a huge focus for us.
Great. Thank you. Next question is going to be about sustainability and resiliency. Infrastructure resilience has become a national priority, particularly as climate events and population growth test existing systems. What kind of investments or policy shifts would help San Antonio build infrastructure as not only resilient and competitive, but sustainable in the long run? We'll keep the same order, starting with Jordan, going down.
Not a surprise this time. When we talk about resilience, we have to think about the full cycle of our infrastructure. There's so much to build in order to continue achieving a resilient and growing economy. And everything we build today will eventually reach its end of life and end up in a facility like ours. So we should be designing with recycling in mind from the very start. That means ensuring that to the greatest extent possible, that the materials and systems we put in place for our growth can be responsibly repurposed or recycled to support future manufacturing infrastructure and growth. It may not come as a surprise, but not much of what we call green is actually recyclable at its end of life. Another priority is security. San Antonio is home to industries and facilities that play an important role in our nation's defense. That means we need to ensure sensitive materials are handled with care at every stage: delivery, collection, transportation, processing, and final destruction. So working with contractors and recyclers can guarantee secure handling, and verified destruction is imperative, really. It may not come as a surprise, but even our roadways need to be secured greater through DPS and the 60 Minutes piece that was recently on about cargo being stolen. And this is happening even in the recycled materials industry, that full cargoes are disappearing as they cross the country. Metal recycling in particular also supports our national security in a very real way. When we recover and reuse metals here at home, we reduce the dependence on foreign suppliers, strengthen our domestic manufacturing base, and support American jobs. This makes us much more resilient globally as well when we have disruptions in supply chains or tariffs. If we invest both in circular design and secure, sustainable practices, we'll position San Antonio to remain competitive, resilient, forward-thinking for decades to come.
Thank you, Jordan. Rudy, we all went through SNOVID. Resiliency is huge for CPS. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd like to stop talking about SNOVID at some point in my career. Every investment we've made since that event has been towards resiliency, in our system. A lot of people get reliability and resiliency kind of crossed. Resiliency is about recovering when you have a major event on your system. And we just presented to our board and our risk committee on Monday, showing that, the extremities of the weather is changing. It's getting worse. The storms that are hitting, are much more impactful. And somehow we've been able, because of the investments we've made in our grid, to bring the impact down. So we don't have these major storms come through. And when they do, we generally it takes about half as much time as it used to take because of all the investments that we made into our systems to get folks back on. So I think we've done the job asked of us by the community to get more resilient within our operation. You've seen the headlines. We're buying generation plants all over the state of Texas to ensure we've got the supply that our customers need for us to be able to serve our customers and to grow. We're investing in transmission We're investing in our technology, our systems. Your customer experience will change as we're bringing our new systems online to better serve you. So, there's not a inefficient dollar being invested back in our system in some form or fashion. To the tune, you talk about $1.6 billion. We're spending $1 billion to $1.5 billion a year for the next decade to make sure we're doing a good job for you all. So that's how you maintain resiliency. And we're doing it in all the right ways. We're number one in solar. We're number two in wind. We will be at the top of our industry in battery storage in the very near future. And we're investing in natural gas to make sure the system is reliable. So we're doing it in the way that our community has told us is important to them.
Thank you, Rudy. Jesus, plane's got to take off and land on time. How are you doing it?
Yeah, but that's the team knows when I say, hey, how do we judge success is by aircraft taking off and aircraft landing. The second that stops, nothing else really matters after that at an airport. But from a resiliency standpoint, it's about putting redundancies in place. And I define those redundancies by establishing good design standards and having good design criteria to what we do to existing assets and to future assets. So from that perspective, we continue to move forward in ensuring that we have top-notch design standards in the way we're doing things, to the point of even looking at things in a whole different perspective from an accessibility. We want to be the most accessible airport in the world. That's what's in our existing design standards today as we look out into the future. So from our standpoint, we have beyond what we call COOP, the continuity of operations, to ensure that we were always ready for anything. When we knew the government shutdown was going to happen, we started to prepare ourselves to ensure that we don't buckle one bit in what we're doing. Those are building relationships with our federal partners and everything that we do. On the sustainability standpoint, I attribute that to some very difficult work that we've done in getting our carriers to sign a 10 plus 5-year agreement, 15 years that they're saying we're going to be here in San Antonio, right? So that agreement is there and signed, and that gives us a very diversified portfolio so that we have all types of carriers and where we're going, so that we can get, again, into transatlantic service, getting into Europe, continuing to grow what we're doing in Mexico, ensuring that we're servicing all top 30 airports in the United States domestically. We'll start service in May of 2026 into Canada. So we continue to move in those directions, and I think those efforts are important. And at the core, at the foundation, I always stay true to everything that we do is ensuring that we have a good strategy and that we're taking care of our people that are doing the jobs for us every day. And those things will help us be successful in the most resilient and sustainable way.
Thank you. Jesus, Burton, your perspective from the construction side?
Yeah, I agree with Jesus on the sustainability side. I mean, for us, it starts in design. It starts in how you build buildings now. I mean, to make sure that you're being efficient, make sure you've got durable materials that they're going to stand up for the long haul. I'll give you guys a great example. The Credit Human project we built right next to the Pearl is not only a beautiful building, but it is arguably one of the most efficient energy buildings in the state and maybe in the country. And so when you build projects like that, you're not taxing the system, right? We're not sucking energy or sucking water. They're actually helping contribute to, the growth that's happening by being able to sustain that. And, I think that we're going to need more public-private partnerships. I think when you really can align, investment and accountability, you get better outcomes, especially for the duration of sustainability long-term projects. But when we really talk about sustainability for us, it's about people, because I was happy to see that Prop 1 passed this. They're going to fund $850 million for TSTC and workforce development. We are huge champions of workforce development because all the growth and all the things that were happening, Jesus can't run an airport. We can't run projects, on the energy side. You can't run your business, and we certainly can't build buildings without a great workforce. And we're really, really lacking in where we need to be around workforce development. So that's the biggest sustainability piece that we see as people.
Thank you. Okay, next question. And on this one, you each have 1 minute. You're limited to 1 minute to answer. But we talked about the uniqueness of San Antonio's history and culture. So this is for each of you, again, starting with Jordan. How are local leaders and businesses ensuring that modernization projects, whether in transit, utilities, housing, etc., strengthen rather than overshadow the city's historic and cultural character? How do we make sure that San Antonio stays San Antonio? Again, 1 minute, each of you. Jordan?
Well, as someone whose family business has been in San Antonio for more than 100 years, we've had a front row seat to the city's tremendous growth and transformation. In the recycling industry, we see every day how circular economies work. For example, we send end-of-life reclaimed metals to mills where it's transformed into new products. The same principles apply to our infrastructure and the reinvestment in our city. By strengthening and refurbishing or reimagining our systems we already rely on, such as our family, such as our people, and such as our business community, we will make this city more powerful and our.
Thank you, Jordan. Rudy?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's a matter of listening. At the end of the day, we're a public entity. As we develop our strategies, we try to engage our customers to ensure we understand what you expect out of us, and then we create a plan that takes that feedback into account. So, as the city is changing, and every city should change. That's a good thing. We're not going to build a transmission line over the top of the Alamo, but we have to build infrastructure somewhere. And so when we do that, we try to maximize the availability we give our customers to give us feedback on that, to make sure that we're paying attention to our culture and our heritage and the things that make San Antonio such a special place. CPS Energy is part of that legacy, quite frankly. And it's our job to make sure that we understand how the community expects us to do our jobs. And that helps us make sure that we maintain the proper balance between, what we have to build new and maintaining, who we are as a community.
Thank you, Rudy. Jesus, sometimes for many people, their first impression of San Antonio is when they land at the San Antonio airport. Talk a little about our unique character.
Yeah, Rudy took my word. I was going to say we need to listen. And we do. When we started the development program, we went out and obtained 100,000 plus direct or indirect feedbacks of what do you want San Antonio to be? And everyone said we wanted to have a sense of place, as you just stated. So that's one of our focal points as we went through the design standards and what we're doing to create. You're going to see pieces of the Riverwalk on the bridges in the new airport terminal. We'll take it back to the 1500s. We went as far back, and you're going to see things about the aquifer and what the aquifer meant to Querétaro, Mexico, people that migrated into San Antonio. That's how far back we are in the things that we're doing in our design standards. So it is a matter of listening. I think on the other aspect, on the concessions, I mentioned we're going to have 19 brand new food and beverage retail establishments. 70% of those are going to be local here from San Antonio. And that's a big factor, so that when people arrive here, they not only get to see, but they get to taste what San Antonio is all about.
Burton, you build things for a living all throughout the city. What is it that George is doing when you go out and build a new project in terms of incorporating cultural and architectural characteristics into what you're doing?
Well, I'm going to steal the same thing. It's listening. It really is. It's for us, it's about just being good partners. We've got such great design partners, such great trade partners in the city that it really is about listening. I mean, how do we continue to move the city forward without forgetting the past? And it really is just being accountable and just being good stewards. And that's what's great about our local, keeping things local as we continue to grow. When firms come from outside that don't understand San Antonio, it's like, do they really understand where we come from or where we're going? And so that accountability to stewardship and listening to who is doing it is important.
Thank you very much. We only have a few seconds left, so just any quick thoughts, one sentence. Gordon, anything?
Now I'm really being put on this spot. But no, I mean, I think that obviously we all come from different perspectives on growth and development and different parts of the infrastructure that we all contribute to and desperately need. And it's our people, it's our businesses, it's our power and utilities. We're not talking about water yet today, but certainly we'll hear something about it. But yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks, Jordan. Rudy?
Yeah, I would just ask, we're your utility at the end of the day. You're our customers. If you have feedback that will help make us better, good or bad, I would just ask you to share it freely. Nobody's ever called me, with a complaint or something negative to tell me about their experience with us that hasn't helped us and helped me hold my people accountable and us get better. So I would just tell you, I can't make us better if you're not sharing that perspective with me. And I would just encourage you to continue to do so because, again, we're a community-owned utility, and that's a very special thing.
So your inbox is about to be full. Down joke. Good luck.
You need transformers. I got it.
Yeah.
You need more nonstops. I got it. The biggest piece I would share with you as I talk to you about numbers, and when I first arrived in San Antonio, everyone was like, the flights in Austin are cheaper. So that's why I drive and spend 2 hours going to Austin because I want to go that way. We have shortened that by a dime and a penny. So the difference of a flight on an average flight from San Antonio to Austin is now 11 cents. So when people always talk about how do we make our airport better, how do we make our city better, fly out of SAT. That's what I'd share with you. Thank you guys for all that you do and all the support you've given us.
Thanks.
I pay you double tonight.
Keep it local.
To make that drive.
Burton, last thoughts.
Just grateful that we're part of this conversation. Grateful that we get to be a part of the growth of San Antonio. It really is humbling. With the passages of Prop A and Prop B, really thankful that's going to impact so many of us in this room, and just that we get the opportunities to do that. We take every project we get to build as a privilege, and so as we continue to move the city forward, we're just grateful we get to serve in a small way. So thanks for having me.
Thank you all. You've been an amazing panel. Let's give them a round of applause.